healthy coping mechanisms can be the gym, discipline to yourself, talking to someone, meditating, all of those, which help you cope with what you've gone through and heal them. Or you can have the unhealthy ones, which is abusing somebody else, taking out what you've gone through on someone who can't push back. So that's bullying, right? That's physically or verbally or sexually abusing somebody else. You can take it out in drugs, alcohol. You can even take it out, believe it or not. Like for me, it was sex. Sex was, for me, what I thought was a safer way to cope with my own trauma because I didn't really get into the drugs as much as like maybe other people would in the same wounds, but I got into sex the same way. Now, here's another funny thing. People pleasing is the same thing. It's just more approved of by society. So someone who has the same traumatic wounds, you see them running around trying to like make sure everybody else's needs are met, trying to make sure that like, they're loving everybody else and they're taken care of so that that also makes them feel safe with the wound that they haven't really worked on. So there's a concept or a term called empaths. I don't use this so much, but it's basically people who believe they're highly empathetic, which it does exist. They have very sensitive nervous systems like myself. Because they're not dealing with that own problem, instead they go out trying to absorb other people's problems. And so they want to get into relationships, just as your previous coach said, to fix them. Because by fixing somebody else, I'm distracting myself from my problem. So all of these things are actually coping mechanisms. Some of them are just approved of more by a family or society, and so we use them more. For example, sports or the unhealthy addiction to alcohol and sports is, I've noticed, is more approved of in North America than it is in Thailand or Vietnam, for example. Religion is another coping mechanism that's more approved of. Even the addiction to religion in places like India or Indonesia, etc., than it is in the US. So we have to discover if I'm using these coping mechanisms to the point where it's not helping my life, my relationships, my family, or my connection, then more importantly than just saying, I need to stop drinking, I need to stop abusing people, I need to stop having sex, we need to figure out what the fuck is making me do it like this. And if I can figure that out, then I don't even need to have the coping mechanism because there's nothing to cope with.
Because it's amazing when you realize what's going on, or you start trying to tackle it. Like, I mean, I'm 40
Mhm.
now, and I only feel like I'm beginning to become a bit more like who I was as a kid before I
Right.
was bullied, before I went off, because I went off to boarding school as well, and I was such
Ah,
a home bird, and I was
right.
I feel like I never really got over the kind of the trauma of all that. And in my head, people are like, "Don't be so silly. You only went there for a couple
Hmm.
of years." But in my head, this was like the worst time of my life, and I think I've always acted in a certain way. I still go home probably far more than I probably need to now to see my
Right.
family, and it's only
Nice.
place I feel truly at home is with them. And I
Wow.
did the same sort of thing of, I would go and sleep around, or well, try to, I would go and do stuff because it was what was expected of me, or what other people were doing to fit in, like go to the pub, and I would hate it, thinking, what the hell am I doing sitting here every
Right.
weekend? But I would buy tickets for a festival, looking forward to it because in my head it's going to be amazing. Never
Right.
enjoyed them while I was there. All these stupid
Mhm.
things, and now I know there'll be so many people sitting there going, "Okay, I do that. I do that. Oh shit!